Have you ever felt it? That subtle, unnerving feeling that you're losing your grip on reality just a little bit when you're around a certain person? A feeling that you're constantly walking on eggshells, carefully measuring your words, your actions, even your silences, because you know that any misstep could unleash a storm. A quiet confusion that settles in after a conversation, leaving you wondering, was I the one who was wrong? Am I being too sensitive? Am I going crazy? If this sounds familiar, you may have found yourself in the orbit of a narcissist. The word narcissist is everywhere these days, often used to describe someone who takes too many selfies or loves the sound of their own voice. But true narcissistic personality is so much deeper, so much more complex, and infinitely more damaging to those caught in its wake. It isn't just vanity. It's a fundamental distortion of reality. To truly understand it, we must step inside their world. Imagine, for a moment, a grand and opulent theater. It is meticulously designed. Every light perfectly placed. Every velvet curtain hanging just so. In this theater, there is only one star, one director, one writer, and one audience member that truly matters. That person is the narcissist. Everyone else, you, their friends, their family, their colleagues, you are merely stagehands, supporting actors or props in their one-person show, a play titled Me. And in this grand theater of the self, the script is already written, and it revolves entirely around them. Your role is predetermined, your lines are given to you, and your purpose is solely to make the star shine brighter. To deviate from this script is to threaten the entire production, and the director will not tolerate it. The pain and confusion you feel is not an accident. It is the inevitable consequence of a world where your reality is not allowed to exist, where your feelings are irrelevant, and where your value is measured only by your usefulness to the star. You are not imagining it. You are not too sensitive. You are experiencing the disorienting gravity of a world built for one. If this idea of stepping into another's reality, of finally understanding the script you've been forced to act out, is already sparking a new perspective for you, take a moment to subscribe to Mind Decode Explained. We journey through these intricate landscapes of the mind together, not as lecturers, but as fellow explorers seeking clarity and healing. One of the most common and dangerous misconceptions about narcissism is that it's just an extreme form of self-esteem. Nothing could be further from the truth. Healthy self-esteem is like a deep-rooted tree, nourished from within. It allows for growth, resilience, and the ability to shelter others. Narcissism, however, is more like a parasitic vine. It looks lush and impressive on the surface, but it has no strength of its own. It can only grow by clinging to a host tree, feeding off its nutrients, and ultimately, strangling the very thing that gives it life. A person with healthy self-esteem can celebrate your success. A narcissist sees your success as a shadow cast upon their own light, something to be diminished or extinguished. This is the core of the dilemma, the foundational rule of their inner world. Everything must be about them. We can understand this in a 2-year-old child. Their need for constant attention is a normal, healthy part of their development. Their world is them. But when you see this same insatiable need in a 40-year-old adult, it becomes something else entirely. It becomes a pathology, especially when their need for admiration comes at your direct expense, demanding your emotional, mental, and sometimes even financial resources to sustain their fragile sense of self. Simply by being themselves, By operating from this deeply ingrained playbook, they create a field of victims around them. And this is the difficult truth we must confront. They will not change. That statement can feel harsh, almost cruel, until you truly listen to the chorus of stories from those who have been loved, parented by, or worked for a narcissist. The acclaimed author and former FBI profiler Joe Navarro, in his book Dangerous Personalities, outlines how these individuals leave a wake of destruction-shattered careers, broken marriages, and stolen childhood soul stemming from a simple, unshakable belief. They are so special that no one else matters. Not really. From the countless individuals I've spoken to, survivors of these toxic dynamics, I've learned the unwritten rules of the narcissist's theater. These are the lines from their internal script, the beliefs that govern every action and interaction. Let's pull back the curtain and read the pages they live by. The first and most fundamental rule is, I am perfect, and you must reflect that perfection back to me at all times. I love myself, and I know you do too. In fact, everyone does. The idea of someone not admiring me is literally incomprehensible. This isn't just confidence, it's a required belief system. Your role is to be a flawless mirror. Any crack in that mirror, a criticism, a differing opinion, a moment where your attention is elsewhere, is not just an insult. It's an existential threat to their very being. This leads to the second rule. I am above the rules. Rules, social contracts, obligations, and mutual responsibilities, these are for ordinary people. They are for the audience and the stagehands. The narcissist sees themselves as exceptional and therefore exempt. They may expect you to be on time, but they will be late. They will demand absolute loyalty and fidelity from you while seeing no issue with their own betrayals. As they would say, those rules are for you. I don't have the time or the inclination to follow them. They are for average people, and I am far from average. The third rule governs the emotional landscape. My feelings are paramount. Yours are irrelevant. The narcissist experiences their own emotions: rage, envy, grandiosity as world-altering events that everyone must attend to. Your feelings, however, are an inconvenience. If you are hurt by their words, the problem isn't what they said. The problem is your reaction. Your sadness is weakness. Your anger is an overreaction. Your need for comfort is burdensome. This is a universe devoid of genuine empathy. They might learn to mimic empathetic responses, saying the right words to achieve a goal, but as we'll explore, this is a performance, not a heartfelt connection. True empathy would require them to step out of the spotlight and acknowledge your reality, a feat that is simply not in their repertoire. From this, a fourth rule emerges. I am never wrong, and I never apologize. To admit fault would be to admit imperfection, which, as we've seen, is impossible. Therefore, blame must always be externalized. If a project at work fails, it was the team's incompetence. If an argument erupts at home, it was because you provoked them. They are masters of what psychologists call projection, taking their own undesirable traits, their dishonesty, their selfishness, their cruelty, and seeing them in you. They accuse you of the very things they are doing, a disorienting tactic that can make you question your own character. An apology from them, if it ever comes, will almost always be a manipulation in disguise. I'm sorry you feel that way. Which is not an apology at all, but another way of saying your feelings are the problem. The fifth and perhaps most insidious rule is this. I am the collector of wounds, and I will never forget or forgive. While they demand that you instantly forgive their transgressions, they maintain a meticulous, lifelong ledger of every perceived slight against them. A comment you made 5 years ago. A time you didn't praise them enough. A moment you shone too brightly, all of it is recorded. And this ledger justifies their cruelty. It gives them permission to lash out, to punish you, to devalue you, because in their mind, you deserve it. This is why you can feel so blindsided by their rage. It often isn't about what just happened. It's about a wound from years ago that you never even knew you had inflicted. Living under these 5 simple rules: I am perfect, I am above the rules. My feelings are all that matter. I am never wrong, and I never forgive creates a specific and predictable environment of suffering for those around them. It is a stage play that slowly drains the life out of every other actor. Now, let's turn the spotlight away from the star and onto you, the supporting cast. What does it actually feel like, day in and day out, to live or work in this theater? The script you're handed is a masterclass in psychological erosion. First, you learn to accept that you are not their equal. You never will be. In the narcissist's world, there are no equals, only inferiors and sources of supply. You will be constantly reminded, in subtle and not so subtle ways, of your perceived shortcomings. They will highlight their intelligence, their success, their superior way of doing things, and you are expected to be grateful just to be in their presence. This creates a chronic sense of inadequacy, a quiet hum of not enoughness that becomes the background music of your life. Second, your sense of reality will begin to warp. This is the phenomenon known as gaslighting. They will deny things they said, things they did, with such conviction that you will start to doubt your own memory. I never said that. That never happened. You're making things up. They will rewrite history in real time. And when they do, you are faced with a choice. Believe your own mind, or believe them to keep the peace. Over time, choosing to believe them chips away at your sanity, leaving you feeling perpetually confused, anxious, and untethered from your own perceptions. Third, you will experience a profound emotional whiplash. A narcissist can be incredibly charming, charismatic, and loving when they want something from you. This is the love bombing phase. They shower you with attention and affection, making you feel like the most special person in the world. But the moment you cease to be a perfect mirror, or the moment they have secured you, the switch flips. The warmth vanishes, replaced by cold indifference, contempt, or rage. You are left reeling, desperately trying to figure out what you did wrong to bring back the good person you first met. This cycle of idealization followed by devaluation is incredibly addictive and damaging. It creates a trauma bond, where you become attached to the very person who is hurting you, always chasing the high of the initial idealization. This is where we must dismantle another common misconception: that you can fix them with enough love and patience. This belief, while born from a place of compassion, is a dangerous fantasy. Your love is not seen as a healing gift. It's seen as a given, a supply they are entitled to. Your patience is not seen as a virtue. It's seen as an exploitable weakness. Trying to heal a narcissist with your love is like trying to fill a bucket with a hole in the bottom. No matter how much you pour in, it will never be full, and you will be left completely empty. The kindness they show you is, as the source material so brilliantly puts it, purely transactional. It is a tool, like using a hammer to hang a picture. It is deployed for a specific purpose and has no genuine emotion behind it. You will find yourself starving for the smallest crumbs of affection, and they will know exactly when to give you just enough to keep you in the play. Fourth, you will become emotionally and physically exhausted. Constantly walking on eggshells, managing their moods, absorbing their criticisms, and suppressing your own needs is a full-time job with no pay and no holidays. It leads to chronic stress, anxiety, depression, and even physical ailments. That persistent tension in your shoulders, the knot in your stomach, the insomnia that is your body keeping score, it's your nervous system screaming a truth that your mind might be trying to deny. This is not safe. The researcher and therapist Dr. Ramani Durvasula speaks extensively about this death by 1,000 cuts. It's not always one big explosive act of abuse. More often, it is the slow, relentless erosion of your self-worth through countless small acts of dismissal, contempt, and invalidation. They won't care about the little things that bring you joy. In fact, they may subtly mock them. Your hobbies are silly, your friends are unimpressive, your accomplishments are minor. By devaluing what you value, they devalue you. You will find yourself becoming their constant cheerleader, celebrating their every minor achievement, while your own successes are ignored or minimized. You will be expected to soothe their fragile ego, even on days when your own heart is breaking, and you are the one who needs comfort. And finally, you will feel a profound loneliness. To be in a relationship with a narcissist is to be utterly alone. There is no real partnership, no true intimacy, no shared vulnerability. The great thinker on vulnerability, Brené Brown, teaches that connection is forged in moments of shared imperfection and mutual empathy. This is a language the narcissist cannot speak. They are incapable of the kind of deep, authentic connection that nourishes the human soul. They hand you their shame to carry, but they will never help you carry yours. And so, you can be in a crowded room with them, in the same bed with them, and feel a loneliness so vast and empty it echoes. This is because, in their world, you are not a person to be connected with. You are an object to be used. As Stuart C. Udofsky described it, these are individuals who are grievously wounded in their capacity to love. So you find yourself here. You've been in the theater for months, or years, or even decades. The velvet curtains feel like prison walls. The applause sign feels like a command. You are exhausted, confused, and heartbroken. You recognize the script. You see the stage for what it is. The aha moment has arrived, the devastating but liberating realization that this play will never be rewritten. The star will never share the spotlight. They will never step down from the stage to sit in the audience with you and hold your hand. Your role is fixed. And in this moment of gut-wrenching clarity, the central question of your life changes. It is no longer, how can I fix them? Or, how can I make this work? Or, how can I get them to see how much they're hurting me? A new question emerges, quiet and terrifying, but full of promise. How do I leave the theater? The answer, in almost every case, as validated by psychological experts and survivors alike, is as simple to say as it is difficult to do. You must create distance. You must walk off the stage. This is not a punishment. It is not an act of revenge. It is an act of profound self-preservation. It is choosing your own sanity, your own reality, and your own life over their performance. For some, this means going no contact, a complete severing of ties. For others, due to shared children or other unavoidable entanglements, it means creating firm, unshakable boundaries, a strategy often called gray rock, where you become as boring and unresponsive as a gray rock, giving them nothing to feed on. This path is not easy. When you leave, they may unleash their most potent weapons: rage, promises to change, guilt, tripping, or smearing your reputation to others. They will try to pull you back into the drama. This is the final act, the star's desperate attempt to keep their most valuable cast member. But if you can hold on, if you can keep walking, something miraculous begins to happen. As the distance grows, the fog in your mind begins to lift. The constant hum of anxiety starts to fade. You begin to hear your own thoughts again, to feel your own feelings without judgment. You start to remember who you were before you were cast in their play. The colors of the world seem brighter, the air feels cleaner. It is the feeling of stepping out of a stuffy, artificial theater and into the fresh, open air of the real world. The healing is a journey. It involves grieving the relationship you thought you had, or the parent you wish you'd had. It involves rebuilding your self-esteem, learning to trust your own perceptions again. It involves surrounding yourself with people who don't need you to be a mirror, but who see and celebrate you for who you are. It is the slow, steady work of reclaiming your own story. The world, through a narcissist's eyes, is a lonely, gilded cage, a stage where they are forever performing for an audience of one. The greatest tragedy is that they will likely never leave it. But you can. Your life does not have to be a supporting role in someone else's script. You are not a prop. You are the protagonist of your own magnificent story. And that story is waiting for you, just beyond the theater doors, ready to be written in your own words, under your own light, in a world where you are finally, beautifully, and unapologetically free.